Welcome. This video is to help you get ready for Program 4. In Program 4, you're going to build an application that implements the algorithm that was shown in Program 3. You will build the application from the components that have been built by yourself and other students. So I have told you about the um, software components uh, repository, and you can type in the command schelp software components help, and it gives you commands that you can use to complete your job. The first command, scmine, tells you all the components that you have built. You need to say what the collection name is, and the collection name for this is F17 Prog 3. If you do that, it'll take a little time, and it'll show you the components that you have submitted. I have to tell you now, if you don't see a test.run and the .o file, it means that something went wrong. Either your function did not compile or your test program could not compile. And technically speaking, if I don't have both of these files, then your component is not available for use by other students. See, oh shucks, what did I just do? Okay, so the other function command that you have is an SC status, where you're able to see what components are available. So let's try that. When you do that, you're told to say what's the name of the collection and give some information. So if I say SC status, what's the collection? F17 Prog 3. If I say that, you see all of the components that relate to Prog 3. And notice again that you're looking for the .run file and the .o. So you're looking for the .o file for the function, the .run file for the test program. There are some in here that can't really be used. 9801, for example, you see the function, but there appears not to be a test program. I hope that you will select a component after you run the test on it. You just won't grab one out of the blue. What else do we have? SC help. SC view. So if I wanted to take a look at a component, it will show you the specification. The specification again is there to tell you what the function is supposed to do, what the parameters are. So I can say SC view min position, and it will come up and say specification is to determine, the function is to determine the position, and if the vector is empty, to return a -1. And here are the parameters. Why do you need the spec? Well, if you're going to call this function, you got to know what it does and what the parameters are. That's all that does. The next function that you have here is the test function. Here is what you would do if you decide that you have found a component of interest to you. I think I have this backwards. So let's take a look. SC test. The description here is backwards. I will fix that. You have the component ID, which is a number followed by the component name. So in this case, let's take a look at this version of vmin, because again I have the object file for the function and I have the executable for the test program. So I'm looking for 20589. 20589 vmin position. All right. And what happens when you do the test? Well, it shows you what the specification is so you can see this. And you can look at the test program to see if it's convincing you. It says I have normal values, not sure what that means. And it says the smallest value is at 0. And we have other cases, and smallest value is at 3. I guess that's right. Smallest value is at 3. Yeah, I'm not sure you'd be convinced. That's up to you. If you decide that you really like that, you will go back here and say, how do I adopt? All right? And so let's try it. Again, these are all backwards. I got to fix those. So when I see SC adopt, it tells me I can do it two ways. I can say SC adopt and say help. It'll give me some instructions, or I can provide the necessary arguments. The component ID, the component name, and the component type. In this class, we have two types of components. One is functions. Later on, we will have components that can be classes, but for right now, everything is a function. So let's suppose we wanted to use vmin position, and we want to adopt it. Let's look at this thing. We can say SC, take the same command and say adopt. And if we try that, it's going to say, whoa, what's the matter? You said ID, name, but you didn't say what type. So the type we said is function. What happens when we do that? It says I'm adding two files to your directory. One is the .h file. Why? Because you have to include this .h file inside of your main. And it gives you the .o file, or the object file, for the function which you have to include in the G++ command. Okay, let's see what else is there. SC help again. The last thing is that we may want to, you may discover that you've picked a component that just does not work. You thought it did, but it doesn't. When that occurs, you have to release the component. So this may not work because I haven't set this up totally. So let's give it a shot. We're going to say release. When I release it, I give it's like adopt. So I release it. Sorry about that. And it's going to say the component has never been adopted. I thought I adopted this thing. Okay. Let me call timeout. Okay, I'm resuming. I think I fixed the problem I had a moment ago. Okay, we're resuming. I fixed the problem that I had, so let's go back and repeat a couple of things we were trying. Let's try to adopt again and see what happens. Okay. If I look in this directory, I will see that I have vmin position H and O, which is good. And whenever you make an adoption, there's a file that's created that keeps a list of what you have adopted. And later on, if you were to release something, there's a file that's maintained automatically by the system to keep track of the reasons why you let something go. So let's go ahead and try to release a component that we adopted and see what that looks like. So it's going to say hit enter to complete a rationale. I hope you notice that you're in Pico. So whatever you do in Pico, just use it. But put your description here. And the description should say something valid. Okay? Okay, fails for empty array, for example. Or you may say it fails when array is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and um, gives the wrong minimum max. You might say it gives us a 3. The purpose of the rationale is so that I can assess, or so you give feedback to whoever wrote the component about what's missing in it. So again, to finish this, Control X, save it, and you get out. Okay. And a couple of things to notice. It takes the files out because you no longer have that. It also puts stuff in the repository. If you see this little arrow, it means stuff is being placed inside of a repository, this time the submission repository. We're going to stop here. The next session, we're going to be very specific about how to begin to build the application.